I'm Archbishop Mark Coleridge, and you are watching Q&A, question and answer for the Catholic leader. Pope Francis has encouraged all of us, indeed urged all of us, to pray for peace in the world at a time when peace seems seriously threatened in all kinds of ways. He's urged Christians to pray for peace in the Middle East, where yet again we're faced with apocalyptic violence. Another kind of chaos seems to have descended, particularly in Gaza and Iraq. But also in Ukraine we have the problems of Russia and Ukraine, and again the Pope has asked us to implore peace in that troubled part of the world. Now this can look like a kind of whistling in the dark, a futile gesture that you expect from a pope, I guess, and perhaps from religious people, but to many people it would seem to be a kind of waste of time, and they would say, well, why bother with prayer? What we need is action. Well, what I would say is it's not one or the other. I think of what St. Ignatius Loyola once said. He said we've got to pray as if everything depended upon God, which in the end it does, and work as if everything depended upon us, which it doesn't, but we still have to pitch in. But we begin as Christians pitching in by praying. Now why? First of all, prayer gives us the larger context within which we can act, and that can be hard to see. It can blur very easily, because when we pray we have a sense of perspective on the things of this world, and we come to the recognition of who is really in charge. In other words, the truth of power, human power and God's power. Human power matters, but in the end, the larger context of any human power is God's power, and God is power, not just a word or a nice thought or a funny inside feeling. The fact is that God is power. So to provide the larger context within which we act, prayer, I think, is essential. So too, prayer is essential if we want the kind of clarity of mind that leads to prudent judgments about what kind of action we can take. Because you can charge into these volatile situations and act with the best of intentions and only end up making things worse. What we need is a kind of clarity of mind, a tranquility of heart and a firmness of purpose, and that's the kind of thing that comes as the fruit of prayer and leads to what I would call prudent judgment and prudent action. By prudent I don't mean excessively cautious, but I mean using right reason and reasons of the heart to leap from thought to action. And the other thing is, of course, prayer is power. Don't ask me to explain the dynamics of it. But in my own life I've seen it time and time again, and I've seen it in the world. Prayer unleashes the power of God, who wants the human being to work with him to bring peace out of violence. So I believe in the power of prayer, and in the end, why pray? Because it is power, but it's a power that looks to the other kind of power that comes when we act, but acting out of the right matrix, and the right matrix is given to us when we open our mind and heart and soul, the mind and heart and soul of the world, to God in prayer.